So our theme for this month has been Harvest for. And the title that came to me way back when Reverend Jones sends out our email saying, what are we talking about? For me, came forward was Acorns, Apples, or Avocados. Now, at the time, it just came straight through. As it came closer, sometimes you think, I know Reverend Verona can relate to this, is, I don't know if that's really what I want to talk about, but here it is, right? Because I was in Yellowstone a couple of weeks ago, and this one particular tree captured my attention. And what I realized about acorns, apples, and avocados are they all grow on trees, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm not far off the spot here. Spirit has it all right. I'm talking about trees and the harvest from trees. The tree that I'm going to focus on in a little while is called the Lodgepole pine. I'll talk to you a little bit about why it's named that. But before I go there, I want to talk about seeds and planting and harvest. And when I went to ministerial school, one of my most feared classes for this Jewish girl was Bible. Right? So I had this magnificent teacher. And the first thing she said to us, that the parables in the Bible are only soap operas talking about our consciousness. And I went, oh, I can get behind that. Soap operas are full of drama, but they usually have a point. I can see that. I can see that. So I wanted to talk about the parable about the sower and the seeds, because it's perfect for this month's theme of Harvest for. We all know that for a living plant, that you need to have the proper soil. You have to till it. It can't be too hard. It has to have the right nutrients. You have to have hydration. You have to have sun. You have to have all these things for the plants to flourish. Now, some plants need more and some need less, but it's really important that you have the proper conditions. And when I'm talking about conditions, I'm talking about conditions of our heart, the soil of our heart and our consciousness. So I'm not going to tell you about the parable word for word. I'm going to tell you in my way. Imagine throwing seeds out without being conscious about it. And you're just throwing these seeds out, and they're landing on the ground, on the mud, and maybe even on cement. And then you're waiting for your manifestation. But what happened? The birds came and found these seeds and took them away. So you have to be conscious about where you're putting your seeds, how you're planting your seeds. So in the parable, the second condition is that the seeds were put in ground that wasn't tilled, it wasn't prepared. It was hard. So the seeds didn't go deep enough, and you know what? The plants, they did grow. But the first time it got hot, they burned up. The first time there was a wind, they flew away. So that soil, that fertile ground of our heart and our consciousness, it wasn't quite ready. So in the parable, there's an area where it talks about thorns, right? The thorns of our heart, those thorns might be unforgivenesses, grievances, angers. So if you're planting your seeds and you're ready for them to grow, they might get choked out by these thorns. So just think about that. Maybe there's something you've been dreaming of, visioning of, and it just doesn't quite come through. Maybe there's some work that needs to be done, some toiling on your soil. Sometimes our heart gets hardened for whatever reason. Sometimes we get closed off because of something that happened in the past. And if we're randomly throwing these seeds out without thinking about these things, a lot of times they don't come to fruition. So what is the condition of your heart soil, your consciousness? From time to time, we all grow thorns or accumulate rocks. I'm guilty of that. It's happened. Even though I've been a practitioner for 20 years, I get to always be tending to the soil of my heart, to my consciousness. One of the things I do as a ministry is I help people let go. I help people declutter. And you know what? It's a constant practice. You never just clean up and then it's gone and it's gone forever. It's something that you work on and you work on and you work on, just like consciousness. And I'm not saying work as in it's a drag. Work as in it is my life's purpose. It is all of our life's purpose to be this beautiful container for these seeds, these dreams, this purpose of our life to come out and play and have picture. So how do we keep this heart soil, this consciousness, well tilled? I'm going to say it's the 7 spiritual practices that Agape offers. So you're in the right place. First is prayer. Prayer for yourself every day. Prayer over anything that you eat. Prayer over getting through the rain in your car. Prayer for your loved ones. Prayer for yourself. And, you know, there's prayer practitioners in this room. There's prayer practitioners that are just waiting to be licensed. They're in their first year of practitioner studies. So you can get prayer everywhere. You can reach out. You can go to the Agape website and see prayer practitioners there. We're here. We're here for prayer. If you're not sure how to pray for yourself, we can help you. The next thing is meditation. If you aren't here for Reverend Broda's beautiful meditation all about consciousness, you missed out. When you can be here at the 10:30 start time, do it. We're offering you this opportunity. And there's so many ways to meditate now, you guys. If you go online, there's Insight Timer, there's so many ways. There's so many meditations. In fact, Agape International offers meditation Monday through Saturday at 12 noon on their Facebook page. I'm one of the ministers that leads that sometimes. I also lead the prayer at 8 a.m. every day. So there's no excuse if you feel like you need a little support and guidance, it's there for you. It's always there for you. You just have to reach out. The next thing is sacred service. You know, I have to look at Rodney for sacred service. Rodney is this devoted being of light that is dependable, loyal, reliable, and always here for Agape there. Thank you, Rodney. And many of you are too. The Zoom team, the board, the ushers and greeters, many people in this room. And I know we have a small room of people today because of the rain, but that's all good. I know some of you on Zoom are also fully engaged in sacred service, whether it's here at Agape or other places. I appreciate that. Spiritual study. If you haven't taken a class with Reverend Verona, you're missing out. It's always fun, it's mystical, it's magical. She's a wonderful teacher, mentor, spirit, and she has a class coming up. I have made the most connected, powerful friendships by being in classes. So if it's not a class here, take a class somewhere else. Take classes, spiritual classes. It's a great way to practice your practice. The next thing is tithing, giving. It's so important that we have opportunities to give, just like we have opportunities to receive. But here's the thing. See, that was Reverend Joan coming out. Here's the thing. Hey, Reverend Joan, if you're watching. If you don't open your hands and let go of what you have, more cannot come in. Whether it's your abundance, or your love, or your things, or your relationships. If we walk around with our fists closed, it stays the same. So I don't know what your tithing practice is. All I know is that make it consistent. Whether it's $5, $50, $500, make it consistent. And we're here to help you with that because we like to do good work in the world with the money that comes to Agape there. So in fact, our treasurer is here, Val. And if you ever wanted to set up just a standard giving on a credit card, she can help you with that. But we already know that a lot of you give online, and we appreciate your consistency. So tithing, very, very important. The next one is, I'm preaching to the choir here, community. Right? So be in a community, be in a spiritual community. That is one of the practices. So it's great that we've been on Zoom for close to 2 years, a year and whatever. And I have to admit, I didn't want to get up and get dressed and go on the roads to come here today. I was like, ooh, Zoom sounds really good right now. And I don't blame you Zoomers. I'm glad that you're with us. But be in community, be in spiritual community. Also, something that Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith came up with is life visioning. Visioning is what brought us here to Kahila. That's right. Visioning is what Spirit's way of taking care of this community. Because if we were still at that other building, there's no way that rent would have been foregone during COVID. We would have been still having to pay a large sum of money even though we worked in the building. And yet, we visioned. And what kept coming through was, it's time to move. There's somewhere else for you. And I'll admit, that came through many times, many months of our visioning, until we said, yes, we're ready to do it. And we moved in here January 1, and COVID started February. And Kahila, being the community that it is, didn't charge us a cent of rent since we weren't in here using the facility. That is powerful. That's right, hallelujah. So we also have opportunities to vision with you. We do it once a month. Reverend Joan leads us. She will be leading us today, and we're doing it online. We're making it easy for everybody, so we'll do it at 1 o'clock online on our usual Zoom line that we use for Sunday service, just to make it easier with the reins. So every month you can vision with us. And if you want to know more about visioning, we do classes in it, but you can talk to any practitioner and they can lead you through the visioning process. So, on to the trees. And what captured my imagination were these lodgepole pine trees. So when you drive into Yellowstone, what you'll notice is these trees on both sides of the road. It's just magnificent to see this path. And the thing about these trees, and I was looking at these trees and I'm thinking, where's all the pine needles? Because the pine needles don't start until like a good halfway up the tree. So it just looks like a big trunk, and then the pine needles start. And they can get up to 75 feet tall. And there's lots of them. And as we were driving through the park, I found out more about them. That's what I have some notes here, because I don't want to miss anything for you nature geeks out there. So, first of all, they're the most adaptable tree in North America. They grow tall and straight and have been used for lodges and teepees, hence the name Lodgepole pines. The walls of the Old Faithful Inn are made with these pines. So if you're ever in Yellowstone, go check out the Old Faithful Inn. It's pretty amazing to see these. I mean, we've seen log cabins all our life, right? Pictures of them. But to really understand where these trees came from that make these beautiful homes and lodges and places to live that are safe and secure, it's amazing. So they can grow in volcanic rock, which most of Yellowstone is. And they're drought tolerant. They have shallow roots, and they take advantage of all those nutrients in that volcanic rock. That's why they do so good in Yellowstone. So lodgepoles are the only pine in Yellowstone whose needles grow in groups of 2. And again, they can be up to 75 feet tall. They have this very thin bark that can be killed by ground fires. And some cones of the lodgepole pines pop open only if there's a fire. The heat is the only thing that can penetrate. And it spreads millions of seeds on the forest floor. So after the fire sweeps through an area, mammals, birds, insects quickly take advantage of the newly created habitat. These fires, that sometimes on a human level we think are so tragic, are here to serve. The fires recycle and release nutrients and create dead trees or snags to serve several ecological functions, such as the addition of organic matter to the soil when these trees decompose. So they grow in groups. And as I said, they don't root deep. So here's how it works. They only live 200 to 300 years. And the trees that you see at the edges are actually taking one for the team. Because they don't grow deep, the trees at the edges support the trees that are inside the forest. I don't know, I just found this profound. Respect. The trees that are on the edge, they hold up the community. That's their life purpose. They don't get to live as long, but they take care of everyone else. So where are you in your heart soil, in your consciousness? These amazing trees feed, house, rejuvenate forests, animals, people, and take care of each other. That's exactly what we're here to do. I know that's what I'm here to do. So I found these wonderful, wonderful quotes that I wanted to share with you. All about harvest and seeds and things like that. Our job is not the harvest, our job is the seed, by Carl Lenz. Every tree, as it grows, says, you harvest what you sow. Really. Inside every seed is the potential for an incredible harvest. Very great. What we plant in the soil of contemplation, we shall reap in the harvest of action. Meister Eckhart. Do not measure success by today's harvest. Measure success by the seeds you plant today. Robert Louis Stevenson. So it doesn't matter if it's acorns, apples, or avocados, or lodgepole pines. What matters is that you tend to the soil of your heart space. And you tend to your consciousness. So that the seeds of your vision, your life purpose, can bloom and blossom.